Hi guys, it's Blackie. Okay, in a recent video, I alluded to the fact that I was going to be doing this video today on Sunday. And what it is, I gave you an after-action report where my Ranger roll came in and was very useful in a situation I was in North Carolina. Today we're going to look more in depth at that whole kit set, and we're also going to add some addition to it, some improvement. Now, let's talk about what's going to go into such a set. One, all this gear you're going to see to me is usually a little past its prime. It may have some damage that I have repaired with duct tape or some other thing. This is gear that's going to be left as an EDC into my vehicle. Therefore, it is more likely to be broken into and stolen. And so therefore, I'm not going to put my state-of-the-art highest quality gear in there. I know a lot of you would love for me to leave my WCSK in here, but no, because that is just asking for it now, isn't it? I want usable gear, I want usable gear that is fully functional, that I know how to use, and at the same time doesn't cost me a lot. So should it disappear, it's easily replaced. It's not a financial burden, okay? Now, I live in the South where 8 months out of the year is heat. I have to worry about trying to stay cool, and 4 months out of the year I have to worry about staying warm. So in the rotations, in usually October and March is when I make the transitions. In October, I will put into here a set of oversized sweatshirts, sweatpants, extra socks, as well as an older pair of long underwear. I will have things like hot chocolate, things like that in the survival food packet, as well as my canteen and etc. for heating it up, and fuel tabs. I'll get to that in a minute. And then for the big deal, I will have my Ranger roll, and I will also have a old U.S. Army 49 mountain bag that's a little past its prime. It's got several tears in it, and I simply sealed it up with duct tape. It's fully functional, it works fine, it just isn't very good looking anymore, but it works just fine, and it rides in here in the winter. Now in the spring, in March, I make the transition, and I get rid of the down sleeping bag and those clothes, and I bring in a set of shorts for walking in. I bring in extra socks that are a little thinner, and I bring in more water, and I swap out that sleeping bag for a little flannel bag. Now this is the one that I talked about in the previous video. It's just a flannel blanket with a zipper on it. That's all. Cheap. Picked it up at the yard sale for like $2. And yes, you're going to hear gunfire in the back. I apologize for that. I am out on the back side of the shooting range in the primitive area where I like to shoot some of my videos. And no, they're not shooting at me. We're okay. All right. Let's talk about my Ranger roll. I briefly talked about that in another one, but let's go a little more in depth. Okay, the Ranger roll consists of 3 layers. My first layer is a United States Army poncho. Now if you notice, mine's got a great big old thing of duct tape on it. That's because I got this poncho for basically nothing, because it had a big tear in it. I went home, I sewed the tear, and then I covered that sew with really good Gorilla brand duct tape on both sides. It's fully functional, it's just not very presentable anymore. But it works perfectly good for this because the Ranger roll is designed to be an emergency shelter system. With this, I can turn it into an emergency sleeping bag. I can also take that and turn it into an emergency leaf tick or a ground cloth. Or in the summertime, I can use it as a shelter, again, you know, like a lean-to. All of the above. That's level 1. Level 2 is inside. There's a reusable emergency space blanket that is facing with the shiny side toward the poncho liner. This, remember me being in the South, is necessary for the heat down here, because that heat bearing down, I can turn it where the shiny side is out and help reflect some of that UV radiation, that heat. So I can put my poncho up as a shelter and then put that shelter reflecting heat on top of it away. and therefore have a cooler shade if I have no other choice. Staying in a vehicle is not a good idea in my heat. Even with all the windows down, this is an oven. Any vehicle is an oven in this kind of heat, where it's 75 to 90% or more humidity, and temperatures with heat index are well over 100. This is an oven, and sitting in it is just cooking you. So you need to get out and get into the shade. It's better to get on the outside and get on the far side in the shade of the sun and use this as a sun block. You'll be cooler than you would be trying to sit in it. So get out of it. Therefore, my shelter system reflects that. I'm able to transfer out. Now, inside of that is a fully functional U.S. Army poncho liner. You young guys call them woobies. Us old silver wolves call them poncho liners. These 3 layers are held together by taking the ties on the poncho liner, and they will line up to go through the grommet in the space blanket and the grommet in the end of the poncho. Once they're done that way, then I will simply tie it in a bow knot like you tie your shoes, and that makes it something that's very easy to take apart in a hurry should I need to strip out of this. Because remember, this is not just for me. This is also an emergency system for whatever. Should I come upon a car accident and I need to cover up somebody or quickly help somebody that's bleeding or whatever, I have things I can sacrifice. If someone's got a sucking chest wound, I can use part of this to cut and make a strip and go around them and seal up that sucking chest wound right quick. Buy time for medical personnel to get there. I've got that kind of training. I know what to do in those situations. And so this has to be sacrificable. So therefore, it has to not be very expensive now either. So that is the poncho liner. Now, the Ranger roll. Now I'm wanting to add another layer to it. And so in looking around and with people, I ran into an individual that had this and was giving it away. Just say, throwing it away. If you want it, you can have it. Really? And what they were doing was a Gore-Tex cover like you have in an MS Sleep system. But this one's got some damage to it. One, the zipper is torn up. As in, where is it? There's a hunk where it's missing teeth. It's actually missing teeth. So this zipper is non-functional. It's also got a hole in it. So it's not going to be truly waterproof anymore, is it? That's fine. I'm thinking Ranger Roll edition. Because what this is, in the wintertime, is an additional cover that I can put that down bag into and have additional warmth, right? 2, in the summertime, this can become a leaf tick. I live in the deep woods of the South. So it's easy for me to kick up leaves, pine, straw, whatever, and stuff this and make me a mattress to get me up off the deck if I'm stranded out here and I've got to hunker down until help arrives. And I'm going to be here more than 24 hours, so to speak. With those shelters, I can make up the shelters. This can function as my sleep bed. It can also be used for other things as well. But the thing is, it costs me nothing. And other than that, it's in really good shape. Now all the snaps still work on it. So that means I can still snap this together. But what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this off camera right quick, I'm going to cut this zipper out. It's not going to do any good, and it's really just going to get in my way. So therefore, I'm going to use my shears, and I'm going to just go along that edge and cut that zipper out, leaving all the snaps in place. And all the snaps are in good shape. I've already went through and checked them, so they'll go in place. Now, here's a little tip or trick for you, for your snaps on your military gear. Take a little bit of chapstick or something and put down in there around it. They'll pop and unpop. Not easier, but more efficiently. They don't take quite as much pressure to pop off. And if it's something that you're having one of those sticky ones, that whenever you push it in place, you just can't get that sucker to unlock, then you therefore want to do it. These got a little bit of corrosion to them. So when you press it, it don't want to go together. If I take that and just clean that up a little bit, take a little bit of chapstick, same thing on this, go around the inside, eliminate any corrosion in there, and then take a little chapstick on it, it'll work just like it's new. And that's the whole idea. So I'm going to stop the camera and I'm going to get rid of this zipper. I'll be right back. Okay, got it out of there. Now, when you cut this out, these zippers don't throw the sliders away. Hang on to the sliders, because you never know down the line when these may come in handy. More than once I have found a big piece of military gear like this that the zipper pull had come out of, and I had them in a little box over here to pull them out and put them back in. And usually these are the same zipper go in the field jackets and stuff like that, and other pieces of gear. It's YKK, so therefore you can probably find a use for these down the line, so don't throw them away. Now, the hole on it. Alright, here we go, the hole. I'll start from the inside, lay it out and get a good look at it, what I need to do. And I'm simply going to take duct tape, good duct tape, this is T-Rex brand, and I'm going to seal up that hole, just so insects and stuff don't come up through that hole and I don't get excess water up through that hole. Yes, I know it's not going to be truly waterproof. I could sew a patch and then put the duct tape, but the truth is, I don't plan on using this quite that way. I will be utilizing it more than anything as a mattress and just a cover for the Ranger roll. So I stick it on, get the camera around that way just so you can see a little bit my lovely workstation, my spare tire. And two pieces on the inside, giving it a couple of inches overlap, should be sufficient. And making sure the material lays flat, overlapping the tape, and making sure that everything is pressed down good. Now I'm going to flip it over and come from the outside of it, making sure to press all the little bits and stuff down good onto the tape. And now we'll go in the opposite direction. So the one inside went this way, the one on the outside will go that way, and they'll overlap in two different ways. Makes life a little easier with duct tape repairs. If duct tape can't fix it, you have an electrical problem. Now, okay, that has sealed it up. I have found that doing that on duct tape on something like a tire does a good job. It actually spreads the glue out a little. It makes it kind of grip better. Okay. Now with this repaired and the rest of it in perfectly usable condition, I have a series of snaps that go down and allow me to snap this closed so I could be uncovered therefore. Now here's how I'm going to utilize it with my Ranger roll, and I will shift it around and show you that. Okay, I'm going to take my Ranger roll, and I'm going to take two of the snaps and just snap the bottom, the two end snaps. Just hold the ends together. Making sure that everything is laying flat, nothing's all bunched up. So this end is going to go down yonder in the foot with the opening toward the zipper natural opening. Spreading it out, grab the bottom, pull it in. Now, on the opposite end, I'm going to take the snap and snap same as before on the poncho. Making sure that this end is nice and flat and laid out like that. Now I will pull the neck closed on the cover. And it has a big patch of Velcro right here. That's what I'm going to utilize to hold this in. Now we're going to lay it out and roll it up. Now I've got it laying over here on the ground, but before I do, let me show you what goes inside of it. Inside of it goes this accessory bag. Inside of here, what I have here is a tobacco tin. Inside of it there is a mixture of cedar bark shavings and flash tinder, then one of those inferno pucks like Pathfinder cells in there, finally a small block of fat wood and a mini Bic lighter wedged in there tightly, and then electrical tape is going around the outside with the tip folded over to act as a quick pull. So this is an emergency fire kit right here. Also in here I carry a knife. This is a knife that's not an expensive knife. This was a cheap knife that was sold at a Christmas thing at Walmart, and it is a Camillus knife. It has a 90-degree section right there, and it has a little ferrule rod in the sheath right there that locks in. It's got a serrated edge and a straight edge and that 90-degree spine. Fits the hand well. This is not a high quality knife, we know that, but I realize that and I'm not going to stress it. It's not an expensive knife either. I think I picked the thing up for $5 at a garage sale, and it came with a little bitty small with an entrenching tool. It was part of a set somebody got for Christmas and didn't want it. So that entrenching tool rides right there with the emergency set for easier grab. And this knife rides inside my Ranger roll. Also inside of it is a complete ridge line set up, ready to go. Adjustable ridge line, rapid deploy one that will hook to the poncho. It'll hook to that space blanket. I can utilize it several different ways. This is 30 feet with all the hookups ready to go on it. So I don't have to think about it, I can just put it up quick. And finally in here, we have 6 U.S. military type stakes. These are good for digging as well as what I'm going to be used for. I can hook directly to that and hook it to the ground. I've got cordage for any other adaptation I've got to do, I've got on board. So I can set it up as a flying tarp, whatever, with this, quick and easy. They stack together, and that greatly reduces the bulk in here. Put the knife in, and up there in that top end, push that puck, zip that up, and that's going to go in the top of the Ranger roll. So when I unroll it, that's the first thing I find. Everything is together, it is organized. That way, if I have to pull this out, I can immediately just flip it out flat to lay down on it if I've got to, for whatever reason. Suppose my vehicle broke down and I need to pull over on the grass and be able to slide underneath it to look up, figure out where something's hung up underneath or something broke underneath. That becomes my mat to slide underneath there, and therefore get under there and see if it's dirt or whatever I'm trying to avoid, or mud, etc. I've got a quick place I can roll out and sit down. Also in my set I have a piece of an old U.S. Army sitting pad, sleep pad that I've cut into this. Here's a piece of scrap I use. It's something dry to sit on. Again, kneeling pad, sitting pad, whatever. Especially with this old Silver Woods, if I got to change a tire on the side of the road, I want something underneath my knees. Therefore, something waterproof to sit in. Now, the final piece is this set. This is a British military set. I believe it was a first aid set. There are two smaller pouches on here, and then the big pouch. In here is a hammock, and then down in here are some MREs stacked in, entrees, a spoon, etc. And this one is a compass and some basic navigation gear, and then this one is a first aid set. So those together are what forms this, and it can go onto a belt because it's got a belt loop on it. So therefore, my canteen and this would transfer to my belt or be hung from a strap from my shoulder. That could be carried the same way. I put it separate from the Ranger roll because my mindset is if I have to deploy this quickly in case of a car accident, then someone else is injured and I need to get them down flat or whatever, or just simply get them out of the sun or whatever because they're going into shock, etc. They may be bleeding, they may be throwing up, they may be pooping all over themselves or peeing all over themselves. I've been there, done that at accidents where people are hurt. You never know how somebody's going to react. And so my Ranger roll has to be low cost and sacrificable in case of it gets covered in blood, gore, whatever, as part of an accident. It's not only my emergency shelter system, it's also for that type deal. Now, let's roll it up. Putting my kit right here in the nose of it. Back, no, I'm going to put it on the other end, excuse me. Start rolling it up. Back, I'm going to roll it one more time. There we go. Leaving as much air out as I can. That's another trick to see if the Gore-Tex is still fairly waterproof. Does it hold air? And this one does. You got to kind of squeeze the air out of it. Now, in this pocket right here, I'm going to put my kit. And then a bushcraft zip tie goes around the whole thing to cinch it down and hold it in place. Extra long, this on the bushcraft zip tie, there's my unlock knot. Here's the extra. I just take the extra and run it around and tuck it back under itself. Okay, there, that's the whole thing. Now I stick it back here in the back at that place I showed you. Just like that. Doesn't take up much space and it's readily available. I can grab it and deploy it. Now, water. The height of the summer I'm carrying 2 gallons in here. Other times I may be down to a quart. It just depends. Right now I got a Grail, but I don't leave my Grail in here. Usually it's some other water carrier. but it will be utilized to keep me hydrated. So in conclusion, work out your needs. Get your kit to fill that needs. If at all possible, use stuff that is not brand new, and look around flea markets, traders, military surplus, and find what will do the job at the most economical cost. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have, please hit the like, share, and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.